JMath.
Welcome to the practice video for compound and double angles. So the questions you see on screen now will be discussed in this video, but please pause the video, try them yourself, and then we will mark in detail at the end to see how you did. Good luck. Question A. So I can see that is in a compound format. So my advice would always be to just take your highlighters and tell yourself what is angle A and what is angle B. Okay, so there is B and B. And now I just need to check the order of the compound formula, and this one is in the correct order. So this is just cos A minus B. So I'm just going to say it's cos, block bracket, A, which is x plus 60, minus B. And in this case, the inside bracket has no purpose, so it can just fall away, and the answer is just cos 60, which would simplify to a half. This question would be 3 marks. You would get a mark for choosing the correct compound formula and getting A and B correct, then for simplifying, and then for actually getting the final answer, so 3 marks. Question B. So once again, I can see that is in compound format, but it is the wrong way around. So my step 1 in this case would be to just switch the order. So I'm going to do a grade 9 sign change, which is just going to be cos 5, cos 55, and then it stays a minus. The order is just switching. So sine 5, sine 55. And if I do that, then the answer will just be minus, and this is the cos, and it's A plus B, so 5 plus 55, which gives me minus cos 60 degrees, which is minus a half. This question would count 3 or 4 marks, so you'll get a mark for the sign change, a mark for A plus B, then for getting the right answer, and then for simplifying your answer with special angles. Question C, 10, sine 15, sine 75. So if I think of double angles, this would be the sine double angle, but I need to change a few things. So firstly, I need a 2 in front. So the 10, I'm going to split as 5 times 2. Sine 15 is okay, but then sine 75, I can actually change that because it's a cofunction, so I can say this is actually sine 90 minus 15. And that would show me that this is 5 sine 15 cos 15, which would simplify to 5 sine double of 15, which is 30. And that would then just be 5 times a half. Final answer, 5 over 2. This question would be 4 marks. I'll get a mark for splitting the 10 in 5 times 2, then for expanding the cofunction, then we're getting the double angle, and then the final answer. Okay, question D. So that is one of those manipulation sums. I need something that is not there. So I need a 1 minus 2 sine squared to 2.5 for this to be the double angle, but I can't just add something if I don't subtract it as well. So this is a plus 1, and I need to add minus 1 in front of it. So then this part would just be the cos double angle, so I can say it is minus 1 plus cos of double 22.5, which is 45, and therefore the answer is root 2 over 2 minus 1. I can't do anything further. That is the answer. This sum would be 3 marks, a mark for the plus 1 minus 1, then for the double angle, and then for the simplified answer. Question 2, prove the following identity. So you are in grade 12, so you would still remember from last year, left-hand side, right-hand side. So this one is possible from both sides, but on the left, you're going to have to be very creative. So let's take the right-hand side. So remember, I need to tell them I'm taking the right-hand side. So right-hand side equals, that is a compound formula, but it's in contracted form. So I can expand, just remember your bracket. So the 2 I'm going to leave in front, and then I'm just going to say, okay, so this is cos x cos 30. It is the cos one, so the sign must change to a plus, and then sine x sine 30. Okay, now I'm just going to multiply the 2 in, and while I'm busy, I'm still going to change the 30s as well to special angles. So this one is going to be 2 times cos x root 3 over 2, and then plus 2 times sine x, and that is just a half. Now, if I simplify, this is going to be root 3, and the 2's are going to cancel out, so root 3 cos x, and then this one, the 2's are going to cancel out again, because 2 times a half is just 1, so plus sine x, and if you look at it, that is left-hand side equals right-hand side. This question would be 3 marks, so 1 for expanding the compound angle, then for simplifying, and then for writing your final answer. Question 3, show that sine 17 plus sine 43 is equal to cos 13. Okay, so this is one of your more advanced sums. If you haven't done this in practice and you see this in an exam, you're going to have a long day. Okay, but let me teach you now if you didn't know this. So this 13 is the key to this sum. Okay, and they're always going to tell me do this without a calculator. Okay, so if you see that, then you need to use the 30, 45, and the 60, and alongside with the 13. So if I think of 17, what do I get if I say 17 minus 13? It's just 4, that's nothing. But if I add 13, I'm going to get 30. So I can rewrite sine 17 as 30 minus 13. Remember, the answer must be 17. Then the same with sine 43, I can rewrite that as sine 30 plus 13. Okay, and the answer is going to be 43. And now I can just go and do compound angles. Once I have that done, I can go for the special angles, and then sine 30 is a half cos 13, then cos 30 is root 3 over 2, sine 13, sine 30 is a half cos 13, and then cos 30 is root 3 over 2 sine 13. So now you would see this one and this one have opposite signs, so they are just going to minus out, and the answer is going to be 0 there. And then a half plus a half will just give you cos 13. And there we go. That is how I would show that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So remember, this is not a prove that, so I don't need to write left-hand equals right-hand, but if you feel more comfortable, you won't lose a mark if you write it. This question would be 4 or 5 marks. I'd give a mark for identifying the 30 and the 13, for expanding both compounds, then for simplifying, and then for getting your final answer. Question 4, calculate cos 70 tan 190 plus sine 110 without a calculator. This whole exercise is without a calculator. So what on earth would I do? Step 1 is always to identify the quadrants and rewrite it all as acute angle. So I'm just going to say cos 70 is fine. Just leave it like that. But then tan would be 180 plus 10. So I can rewrite that as tan of 10. So why can I do that? Because 190 is the same as 180 plus 10. That's third quadrant. Tan is positive in the third quadrant. So that's why I can just simplify it to that form. Now, plus sine 110. That is going to be 180 minus 70. So I'm just going to rewrite it as plus sine 70. Okay, doesn't really look any better than it did previously, but now I can remember, but tan is actually sine over cos. So I can say this is still cos 70. This is sine 10 over cos 10, and then plus sine 70. Now in the next step, I am adding things, and one of them is a fraction, so then I can LCD. So in this case, this would be cos 70 sine 10, and then plus sine 70. I'm multiplying this right-hand side by cos 10 so that I can put everything over cos of 10. Okay, I'm just going to move to the other side so I don't run out of space. So the top, I can see that is cos sine sine cos. Okay, so I can just flip both sides, so it's in the sine compound formula. But because it's sine and it's a plus, it doesn't really matter. So I can just say this is going to be sine 70 plus 10. The bottom is just going to be cos 10, but I can see the top is going to be at 80. The bottom is a 10. That's cofunctions. So I'm going to write the bottom in cofunction format. So cos 90 minus 80, because remember the answer needs to be 10. Then the top simplifies to sine 80. The bottom simplifies to sine 80. And the answer is just 1. I would have never expected that that whole thing just reduces to 1. The sum would be 5 marks, so mark for getting tan 10 and then simplifying it as sine over cos, then for getting the LCT, then for getting compound angles, cofunctions, and your final mark you'd get for getting the answer 1. Question 5, simplify that fraction. Now firstly, I show this to all my matrics that I teach. I am not doubting your intelligence, but let's just do a bit of revision. If I say a half minus a third, okay, I'm just going to color code this just to make life easier. Okay, so remember, I then need to LCD. So to LCD, I am going to say I'm going to multiply the left-hand side by 3, and the right-hand side I'm going to multiply by 2, and the bottom I'm just going to say is 2 times 3. Now, why am I showing you this? Because that's exactly the steps we're going to follow with the big trig grade 12 question that we're doing. Okay, if you forgot that part of grade 5 math, this question in grade 12 is going to be very difficult. So trig is a part where all of the things you learned, factorizing, algebra rules, fractions, all of that, you use in grade 12 trig. Let's do these steps. So first thing, I am going to multiply both sides with the part of the LCD that it does not have. So sine 39, I need to multiply with cos 13. So I'm just going to use brackets just to make it easier. So cos 13 minus stays there, and then cos 39, and that I need to multiply with sine 13. Yeah, great. The bottom, I am just going to put them together, just like my grade 5 example on the right. Just going to follow the same steps. So sine 13, cos 13. The top is now a compound angle, and that is sine cos, cos sine with a minus. So I can just say the top is now sine 39 minus 13, and the bottom I am just going to keep this way. So for those of you who are very creative and you can spot a few steps ahead, we can do a half times 2 at the bottom and change that to sine 26. I feel that's a bit tricky for most of the grade 12s, so I would just go with the top until things can cancel. So the top is now sine 26. I already know the bottom just stays the same. And now, because the top is sine 26, it's actually sine 2 times 13. So I can expand that to 2 sine 13, cos 13, and then all over sine 13, cos 13. So they cancel out, and then you just have an answer of 2. A question like this can be 5 marks. So because you did the LCD correct at the top and the bottom, you get 2 marks. Then for spotting the compound angle, you get a mark. Then for doing the double angle with that one, and then for getting the answer. So how much would you have gotten out of 32? If this was a test, would you have passed this? If not, please go back and check the videos to just sharpen your skills so that this is not a problem in exams.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JMath.